Okay. So as a part of stock locators, we have tested how to create the dynamic locator specification at the time of receiving the item. So now we have a different options as we discussed already. Basically, see, when I talk about this stock locators, this we can set up at various levels. One is organization, inventory organization. Whatever you set at inventory organization, the same will default to sub inventory. And even we can set this stock locator control at item level also. These are three levels we can set up the stock locator control. So in the previous session we tested how we can go with the dynamic entry option. Now we'll see how we can go with the option called as previously defined or say predefined. To test this functionality, we'll go with almost same setups because the inventory organization, whatever we created and used for this definition, I mean, for this dynamic entry, the same we cannot use since on-hand quantity is available within that. So just we'll execute the same setups to test the concept called as previously defined or predefined. Fine. So navigate to project, implementation project. So inventory organization. Manage inventory organizations. So I create. Fine. So create ERP tree. So Texas City org. Select business unit. ERP tree US business unit. And anyway, system will default the same BU location for this inventory. You can accept the same or you may override it. Let's proceed with the same location. Select legal entity. Click on next. Select schedules and specify item master organization. ERP tree item master organization. Locator control. So already we tested dynamic entry locator control. Now we can go with previously defined locator control. Select it. The same will get defaulted to sub inventory, whatever the sub inventory we create within this. Right. Say save and close. Okay. Create sub inventory within this inventory organization. So ERP tree, Texas City organization. Select. Within this inventory organization, we want to create sub inventory. Say create. Sub one. If you see here, the locator control is getting defaulted from the inventory organization as a previously defined. Now you can select what are the locator structure we created, structure and instance. The instance you can select here. This is the one which we created. Select the same. Say save and close. Done. We created sub inventory. Now assign item to item arg to item class. Go to item class.
Uh, Lakshman, there is a time lag.
Sorry.
There is a time lag. Actually, it is going to the previous screen, but you are a little bit advanced.
Yeah, your from your side there could be some internet connectivity issue. You can disconnect and connect. So select item class which we created and click on edit. Go to security. The same we did earlier to test the different scenario. To test this previously defined locator control. Again, we are doing the same setup for different inventory organization. Just click on add. Select person. The username is ERP tree. Select new inventory organization. ERP tree Texas. So make sure that you are giving the required permissions to this user and organization for this item class. Click on add, search, select all these privileges, say apply and OK. Save and close. Done. Okay, done. Now we'll create the item to test this functionality. Product information management. So create item. For existing item also you can do the item assignment to new organization and you can proceed. It won't take much time to create item, so we are creating item. Select item class. Select template. Say OK. Say Apple TV. So item people. It's a defaulting. Let's go to associations. Assign item to our inventory organization. Child inventory, that is ERP Texas City inventory organization. Done. We given the access to this organization for this new item. Now the current user required access to the same inventory organization. For that we have to provide the data access. Okay, go to task called as data access for users. So manage data access for users. Click on create. ERP tree. And select role. Inventory manager. ERP Texas. It's not mandatory you have to map to all these roles. The warehouse manager or inventory warehouse operator, these roles would be enough. Since we have a three seeded primary roles, for three roles we are mapping this inventory organization since we assigned already to our user. Warehouse manager. When you are testing you can go with the warehouse manager, that would be enough. The warehouse manager role will have all the privileges related to inventory access, inventory transactions. Click on add. The other role is warehouse operator. Say save and close. Done. For role synchronization, go and submit LDAP job. Schedule processes. Click on schedule new process. Say OK and submit. Okay, fine. We're done with these two tasks. Now, in case of dynamic entry locator control, directly we can go on to perform the transaction. At the time of transaction, we can select the material, the stock we are taking into which locator. Locator in the sense, locator we have a structure as a row and rack. These are the two segments we created. So you can select specific row and within the row you want to take into which rack you can select directly. In case of dynamic entry option, now we selected previously defined. Previously defined, if you select previously defined, first before you go on to receive the material into specific locator control, specific row and rack, you have to predefine that combination. That means you are going to have a rule. So and so material we want to take into which row and exactly which rack. You want to set up a rule. So if that is the case, ideally we create these combinations previously defined. We'll define as a rule. So into so and so row, so and so rack only we can take the material. The combinations you can specify in which sub inventory, into which rack, which row, which rack we can receive the material. All the rules you can define. Rule in the sense combination you can predefine. Within the predefined combination only, system will allow us to receive the material. Okay, so we'll see that. So we're done with this. Now we have to create locator control. Okay, we'll create the locator control at sub inventory level. For each sub inventory, which locator control is applicable, we can receive the material into which row and which rack, that we have to define. After defining, we'll just go and create miscellaneous transaction. Okay, and we'll check on hand quantity. We'll see this. We have to create predefined combination, predefined locator control related segment related combination at sub inventory level. Go to sub inventory. Go to sub inventory. We created sub inventory called as ERP Texas, right? Manage sub inventories and locators. Okay, if you notice here, you have a previously defined locator control. That means if you want to receive the material into this sub inventory, first of all you have to create locator control definition, then only you can receive the material into this sub inventory. Fine. So go to manage locators. Click on manage locators. Here we can define the combination. Click on add. So if you are receiving the material into this sub inventory, say we want to receive into row 1, rack 1. This is a one possible combination. Other one is row 1, rack 2. The third one is row 1, rack 3. Done, that's all. Okay. Anything you want to receive into the sub inventory 1, you can receive into row 1 only. That's what we are defining. We are not defining any combination with a row 2 or row 3 or 4. Only row 1. Okay, within the row 1 you can select into rack 1, or rack 2 or rack 3. That's all. Okay. This sort of control we are creating by predefining this combination. So if you are receiving the material into this sub inventory, you can take into only row 1, but rack could be 1 or 2 or 3. We have a row 2, 3, 4 also, but we don't want to take into those rows. So we're done with this. Now when you are receiving the material, system will verify. System will verify since for this sub inventory previously defined locator control rule is applicable. So which combinations are already available within the combination only system will allow us to receive the material into this sub inventory. We'll see that. We're done with this. We'll go and create miscellaneous transaction. Inventory management. Create miscellaneous transactions. Okay, say miscellaneous receipt. Select item. Fine. This item we want to receive into which is sub inventory. Sub inventory 1. Sub inventory 1 level we have a locator control as previously defined. we can see all the rows and racks from LOV, but you cannot when you try to select. If you want to receive the material into this row, that is not allowed. Select, we'll try, we can see that. Okay, so within this thing, within this row, we didn't create any racks and all. That could be the reason the values are not coming. Even values are available, it won't accept. Okay, we'll just go and create it. At the time of values entry, I guess we didn't enter the values for other rows. Just we'll add the one or two values and we'll test it. Inventory value sets. So manage values. So rack 1, rack 2, rack 3, all we have within the row 1 only. So we'll create few values for rack 2 also, so that we can use those for testing purpose. This rack 4 is part of row 2. We'll create one more value. So save and close. Fine. Go to inventory management. Miscellaneous transactions. Say miscellaneous receipt. Select item. You want to receive this material into row 2 on rack 4. You say okay, it should not allow. Reason is for this sub inventory we are using, or for this inventory also, inventory level only we given previously defined. The same is defaulting to sub inventory also. So how many sub inventories you create within this inventory, for all those sub inventories the same rule will be applicable. So since this combination is not predefined, previously defined, so system is not accepting. You cannot select this combination. The reason, this is not predefined. This is how you can set a control to allow to receive the material into for defined combinations only. Now we'll go and change the combination to previously defined. Row 1, rack 1. Yes, it will allow. Even we defined this combination with row 1, rack could be 2 or 3 also. Okay. You can take into any inventory organization. So select account. Just you can pick any one of the existing code combination. So submit. So on hand quantity already we just verified along with the when we look at the on hand quantity availability, system displays that on hand quantity is available in which locator also. Okay, within the Texas, within this sub inventory, the on hand quantity whatever we have, that is part of which locator and which row and which rack. So this is how we can have a detailed information. So this is all about previously defined. Earlier we tested scenario called as, one second. We tested dynamic entry. So dynamic entry we tested and previously defined we tested. And we have one more option, okay, in the organization parameters, where you can specify determine locator control at sub inventory level. That means instead of deciding at organization level that control, we can give it to sub inventories, so that sub inventory will take the decision. Say you have it 10 sub inventories, in each sub inventory you want to go with in one sub inventory dynamic entry, in another sub inventory previously defined. For other sub inventory, maybe you don't want to decide at sub inventory level also, that may be specific to item. So item level you want to implement the locator control, which locator control should be applicable for which item. So that also, if that is your requirement, so sub inventory wise you want to have a different locator control, or else item wise you want to have a different locator control. In that case, we have to set the locator control at organization level as determine at sub inventory level, so that sub inventory will take the decision which locator control is applicable for the sub inventory, or else sub inventory level you can specify that has to be determined at item level. Accordingly it will work. We'll see that option now. That we call as sub inventory level control, determine at sub inventory level. Okay, we will perform the same setups. It won't take much time, just we know all the setups how to do it. So without taking much time, we'll finish. Create one more inventory organization because for existing we cannot go and override since we have a on-hand quantity. Go to project, create inventory organization. So product management. Click on create. So here you can go with ERP tree, Houston, org, ERP, Houston. Select business unit, ERP tree US business unit. Select legal entity. Click on next. Select schedules. Select item master. And set locator control. Already we tested previously defined and do dynamic entry locator control. Now we are going to test locator control should be determined based on sub-inventory level specification, not at inventory. So we are giving the permissions to sub-inventory to decide what locator control is required at that inventory sub-inventory level by selecting this. That means within this inventory organization, how many sub-inventories we are going to have, those sub-inventories can choose what sort of locator control they require. Done. Say save and close. Done. So we'll go and create one inventory, one sub inventory. So task is manage sub inventories and locators. We have to switch to different organization, right? Change organization. Houston. Say okay. So within this inventory organization, we are going to create the sub inventory. When you create the sub inventory, the rule will be applicable from the inventory. Sub INV1. So inventory organization level locator control we given determine at sub inventory level. So now we got option here to choose. So earlier two cases dynamic entry are previously defined, that would system defaults the locator control from inventory, and sub inventory level you cannot change, but now you got an option. Okay, you got an option. You can decide. If you select dynamic entry how it works already we tested. If you select previously defined, that also we tested. Now we'll go with item level. Okay. This sub-inventory is taking the decision, the locator control whether dynamic entry or previously defined, that should be decided at inventory item level only. Okay, so that we can test item level. Item level locator control, we want to set item level. That means item level will decide for which item which locator control is required, dynamic entry or previously defined, instead of setting at sub-inventory level. Done. So save and close. Done. So the organization what we created will go and assign to our item class, so that it will allow us to assign the items to the item class related items. Go to item class, select item class, click on edit, go to security, add our inventory organization, select person, our username is ERP3, inventory organization is Austin. So save and close. So we created inventory organization and we are associated with the item class. Fine. Now create item and assign item to inventory organization. At the same time, item definition, during this item definition process, we'll see how to set up that locator control at item level. Fine. Go to item creation. Task is product information management. Create item. Just computer. Go to specifications. Go to inventory section. If you scroll a little down, here you could see stock locator control. Here you can decide. So you want to go with the dynamic entry, you can choose it. So when we are receiving this item into the specific organization under sub inventory, so system will allow you to proceed with the dynamic entry of locator control. If you select previously specified, before you receive, you want to receive that material into so sub inventory with which locator control combination, that we have to predefine. These two already we tested. Right now we can go with the dynamic entry. It's all about setting the control at item level instead of setting the control at subunit level. Or else we'll do one thing, for one item we can select dynamic entry. For one more, we'll create one more item. Okay, first we'll complete it. Dynamic entry we selected, and go to associations, assign to our inventory organization. Okay, assign to arbitrary host and organization. Let's name it as a computer one. Okay, no issues. Computer. Or else a desktop. So save and close. One second, there is some issue here. For this inventory organization, it is not defaulting the primary unit of measurement. This is the issue. Go to item people. I think item class level, we didn't add those permissions. Okay, if we didn't provide the permission, just we added our inventory organization to item class. We didn't give the permissions, that is the reason system is not allowing here. Go to item class. Manage item classes. Click on go to task icon. Select item class which we created. Arbitrary computers. Click on edit. Go to security. Here is our host and inventory. This is the record. So if you notice below, no privileges. Add. Say apply and OK. So save and close. Now we can assign the item to this inventory organization. Go to item definition. Product information management. Say create item. We'll create two items. Let's name them as a item 1 and item 2. Provide unit of measurement. Go to specifications. Go to inventory section. So sub inventory level, we give an item level. Want to set locator control. So for this item, select dynamic entry. For item 1, we are selecting dynamic entry. Fine. Now go to associations. If you try to assign this item to our inventory organization, now system will default unit of measurement. And desktop permissions also we have. Search host and arc. Say done. So it's defaulting, its system is accepting. We'll create one more item. Create item. Say item 2. For these two items, we are going to set two different locator controls at the same item level. Since our sub-inventory level, we specified controls can be managed at item level. Go to specifications, inventory. For the item 2, we want to go with previously specified locator control, previously defined. Go to associations to assign this item to our inventory organization. Done. Two different items has two different locator controls. Since sub-inventory level we specified that can be managed at item level, yes, into same sub-inventory you can receive these two different items with the two different controls. We'll see anyway. So we're done with this task. We created item and we assigned to inventory organization. Now we have to provide the access to our user to perform the transactions with this new inventory organization. For that we have to perform the task called as data access for users. Task is Manage data access for users. Just click on go to task icon. Say create. For all the roles you don't need to map, it's not mandatory. We can go with warehouse manager. Post done. So save and close. Submit LDAP job. Submit. We're done with this. Now before we go and receive the transaction, before we create the transaction to receive the material into sub inventory, so we have to create locator control for item 2. Item 1 directly you can receive since we are using the dynamic entry. For item 2 we selected previously defined, so we should define at least one locator control definition combination for item 2 purpose. Okay, we'll go and create it. Go to sub inventory. Fine. So from here we have to create the predefined locator control. Okay, we are creating the locator control as row to rack 4. That's all. Only we can take into this item 2. That. Now we'll go and create the transaction. Inventory management, miscellaneous transaction. item 1 and item 2. For item 1, dynamic entry, right? So you can go with any combination. You selected item 1. Description we written as item 1. This is the item number system generating based on the setup which we did at item class level. Same sub-inventory are receiving sub-inventory 1. Since control is maintained at item level, it will allow you this row 1, rack 3. Any combination system will allow because dynamic entry. Now we'll go with the item 2. The different item we are receiving into same sub-inventory, but item level locator control is previously defined. It's not accepting. Only one we created, that is row 2 and rack 4. This combination we created, only you can receive the material into this locator. So we can manage this locator control at 3 levels: inventory organization level, sub inventory, else when inventory will give the inventory organization will give the permissions to sub inventory may provision the control to item level, so that he'll be able to manage 3 levels depending on requirement. We choose what level we want to manage. That completely depends. So which items and how they are managing the locator control and all. Ideally, it is not mandatory. If you want to go with further segregation of your sub inventory with the physical locations, so we can use this functionality. So any question on this locator control, please? No questions. Okay.